Good evening, viewers of Voice of Canada. We welcome everyone for a brand new episode with a very dynamic guest from a microscopic ancient community, the Persian Zoroastrians, which is Ahle Kitab, according to majority of the faiths. Among the 40 faiths, Zoroastrians are well recognized now here in Canada because we are established in this country, great country, since last over 60 years. Today we have our priest who is quite a learned person. He is a full Ervad, and he can perform all the ceremonies of our Persian Zoroastrian religion, like the Naujot, the weddings, and even the death ceremonies and whatever the small jushans and all are concerned. He was also he's also our immediate past president of our organization OZCF, which is in Oakville, and he served very well during his tenure. And we wish him all the best. And today we invited him so the people of Canada and Voice of Canada can know what is a Zoroastrian religion, what kind of community it is. We believe in one God, Dadar Aura Mazda, what we say in Persian. So, Xerxes, welcome to our show. Tell our viewers, after your little introduction, what are the basic principles of the Zoroastrian religion?
Thank you, SV. And at the outset, I would really appreciate and thank you for having me here. Zoroastrianism, it's one of the most ancient religions, if you call it as a religion. I say it's more a faith. The word Zoroastrianism came in primarily after the British started ruling at the imperial colonists. India was part of the British rule. The original religion as such is Mazdaisni. So we are followers of the Mazdaisni religion, which goes back...
Mazdaisni religion.
That's right. And Mazdaisni as professed, as followed by Zarathustra. Zarathustra is our prophet. So we say our religion is Mazdaisni Zarathustri, or we are Mazdaisni Zarathustri.
Zoroastrians, yeah.
So we are called Zoroastrians in short. This religion, I would say, goes back to... there's always a debate, when did Zarathustra exist? It ranges from 600 BC to 7000 BC. We don't have a clear date. If we look at the Greek philosophers, many of them said it was closer to 7000 BC. But if we look at more historical archaeology, when the Bronze Age came in, there were some artifacts over there. So Bronze Age came in around 2000 BC. If you look at the Avesta language in which our prayers are, that was, it was not close to 600 BC because the language was different at that time. So that's where most of the historians believe it could be around 1800 BC.
Wow.
And what Zarathustra said is like, why was it different from Mazdaisni? Like Mazdaisni also, Mazda means truth. Mazda means wisdom. So we are followers of wisdom. But during the years, everyone started following many gods. There were many lords. You think there's a god for the sea, for wind, for the sky. Zarathustra said, no, there's only one creator. There's only one Lord.
Universal
Mazda.
Lord.
That's right. So he is the creator of wisdom. He has made many creations. Be and live in harmony with your creations. Live in harmony with the earth, the plants, animals, you name it. You live in harmony, and that's what it's all about. So Zoroastrianism is all about, I would say it's an ecological religion, the first ecological religion, and primarily the first monotheistic religion.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I am your co-host today, Kavita Metha, along with Asphandiar Wadiwalla at Voice of Canada, as we are welcoming here Ervad Xerxes Mardon.
Xerxes Mardon.
I'm going to apologize again and again for saying it wrong. Please inform our viewers, what's your professional role along with you being a practicing Zoroastrian priest here at Awaz Ent?
Yeah. I came to Canada with my family about 16 years ago, around 2007. Till then, I mean, I became a priest at the age of 11. Normally, we become a priest, we call mobed in Zoroastrian terms, at the age of 11. So you become a priest normally before you reach celibacy. In India, I barely performed because I didn't become a professional priest. I followed, a career. I was a chemical engineer. I did my MBA.
Wow.
Worked with some global companies like Nozzle, which is a shell company.
Beautiful.
With Tata Chemicals. And then when I came to Canada, I joined Croda, which is again a global company. And now with Cargill as the country manager looking after the business in Canada.
Lovely. Awesome. Awesome. And that's why we say you are a professional priest, practicing priest.
Yeah.
And even what I heard recently, that you have ordained your son also an Edward.
Yeah. So that was a challenge because, as I mentioned, in India, I was not a performing priest. But when we came over here, we don't have any professional priests in Canada because you don't have a place of worship where you can have a professional priest. So those who were there,
the community is very small. The numbers are hardly there.
So he said, like, everyone volunteers. So that's good. So that's how I started getting into it. And then my son was getting to an age where he could become a mobed. So for him to feel that, he needs to do it because it's a rigorous exercise to go through the whole priesthood ceremony. So if I don't perform, or if I don't perform any ceremonies, he says, why should I be doing anything further?
Yes.
So I took on that responsibility, like, okay, this is where I will.
Well, your dad was also an Edward?
He was an Edward, but he was also not a performing
priest
person.
in
So they were
India.
all like career minded. So we
Wow.
followed that. But when I came to Canada, that's where it changed, made it more as a volunteer work, and that's where it slowly got into the whole thing.
Xerxes Mardon, inform our viewers, what is a Navjot in the Mazdian Zoroastrian religion?
So now,
and what age it is performed for girls and boys?
Yeah. So Navjot is it's an initiation ceremony into the Zoroastrian faith. So Navjot means now and Jot, new worshipper, a new person who's joining the faith. So it's a new person or a new birth, if you call it. So it's something in line with your confirmation in Christianity, or bar
Christening
mitzvah,
and all that stuff.
bar mitzvah or bar mitzvah as the Jews do it, or a jadoi, which the Hindus do it. So something similar. The age is an interesting question because what we say is you are accepting the faith, knowing that what it entails, what you want to do, and how you want to proceed. So you don't get that kind of maturity and understanding before the age of, say, 12 or 15. But as for the Greeks, I mean, we go by history, we go by the literature. The Greeks said the Persians at the age of 5 would start education. So religious education and other education was always primus for them. So if going by that, then the age of 7 to 9, which we typically use to become a Navjot, whether boy or girl. So 7 to 9 is the age that we would follow.
That per child qualifies.
Qualifies for Navjot. That's right.
And the child should be by birth Zoroastrian? Because the concept was there earlier.
It's a question of debate, basically, because if we look at ancient history or whether we look at the current history, we don't have a lot of literature that we can fall back on. But when we come in from the primary countries where Zoroastrianism is still followed, like in India and Pakistan,
Iran also.
In Iran, there we were a minority, so we had to stay within our own community. So everyone would do within their own community.
And abide the laws of the country.
It was difficult to spread out. So that's where possibly it became that if you're a Zoroastrian, your children become Zoroastrian. And that's where the Navjots would take place.
Okay.
But coming to this diaspora in Western countries, it's like the parents, your spouse may not be a Zoroastrian, but the children can be Zoroastrian. As far as
that's a very nice way of thinking.
Yeah. So whether in India, they still follow if the man is a Zoroastrian, the woman is not a Zoroastrian, the kids can still be Zoroastrians in India.
Very good.
But over here, we accept both sides. It's fine. That's not a problem. So we do perform Navjots of one parent.
And we have got in our religion also we have got sects like the Mobids and the Erwads. They belong to the priest class, and there is a common class too.
Yeah,
Bedins.
Yeah.
So can you explain to our viewers what is a Bedin and what is a priest class?
Yeah. I would not call them sects as such, but it's basically this started in the Pashadian, and so it was way before even Zarathustra. So at that time, what King Jamshed, who was the major king of the Pashadian dynasty, I'm talking about
Persian dynasty.
The Pashadian, that was like way
earlier.
before Persia. It was almost 8,000, 10,000 BC.
Wow.
So at that time, they categorized the people into different categories. So you had the priestly class, so they were Athornans or Mobids as we call them, Athornans. Rateshtarans, who were the warrior class. Utokshan, who were the farmers. And Vastaryashan, who were the artisans or the craftsmen or the trades.
It's a great knowledge.
So that way, at least everyone was focused towards what they are supposed to do. And their children, the descendants of that, continued doing it. It changed when I would say the Greeks overran the Persian Empire, so it stopped at that time. But during the Sassanid period, it came back again. But when we moved to the South Asian countries like India and Pakistan, there, and with the way the world was, we didn't have those kind of the number of people were less. So we just had two different groups, the Mobids and the Bedin. Bedin means the good religion, follower of good religion. So it's just that we've categorized them as those from the priestly class and those from the
non-priestly class. But the children of Bedin cannot become priests.
So far, not in India and Iran, but over here, in the Western countries, we are looking at the Mobids over here say, why not?
North American.
In the North American Mobid Council.
God, that's a new information to us.
So they're looking at doing it. But again, you'll have conservatives and liberals. So it's a difficult...
Definitely. Difficult task to achieve.
According to our research and our Canadian statistics, Zoroastrians started migrating to Canada nearly 60 years ago. I'd say initially from India, Pakistan, and Iran. What's the reason for their migration? And how come till 58 years, the Zoroastrian community of Canada was not fully recognized as visible minority? We were categorized as others. What do you...
A good question. I mean, I would have to go back 60 years.
We have to enlighten the people now.
It's a difficult question because we have to look back 60 years back when the first Zoroastrians came, and they would have been primarily from India and Pakistan.
India, Iran also.
From Iran also they started coming. So India and Pakistan mainly to get a good life, basically. So these were developed countries. And the Parsis, as we say, the Zoroastrians.
The Indian Zoroastrians are known as Parsis.
They were very comfortable during the British rule. They did very well during the 300 years.
They were a thriving community.
They were a thriving community. So they said, why are we letting go of the way we used to live under the British? So many of them migrated to the Western countries. So Canada was one of them.
And for better education also.
For better education, for a good way of life.
And to save themselves from prosecution.
That was more
Iran and Pakistan.
That's right.
Even Pakistan.
Even Pakistan. Yeah. That's correct. But at the same time, they were so small. There were limited numbers. So for them, getting into the system was the primary reason. Religion was a secondary thing. They practiced at home. They were not focused on religion, that I have to propagate my religion everywhere. But as the numbers built up, that's when there was a push to get it recognized as a minority community.
Ervad Xerxes Mardon, give us some information about our 10 days of our prayers at the end of the year of our Shanshai calendar. 5 days are Gambar, am I right? And 5 days are Gatha.
No. Just a correction on that. Yeah, it's not only Shenshai because Zoroastrians, we follow 3 calendars on because it depends on.
But those people are known with different names and the different dates and different.
But they all follow the same religion.
And Avesta, the holy book.
They follow Aura Mazda. So as far as religion goes, everything is the same. It's just the calendar they follow. The month, the first month is different. So it's done in Shenshai, which falls in August. By the Kadmis, which falls in July. And the Fashlis, which falls in March.
Wow.
So we perform for the Faslis and the Shenshai mainly because these are the two major ones. The last 10 days are called the Muqtad days.
Muqtad days, yeah, correct.
So those are the
my
days.
Apologies, I said 5 gambas.
So 10 days are the Muqtad days. So the Muqtad days are the days when the Zoroastrians, pay homage to the Fravashis. Fravashis are you can say, the guardian angels.
Angels who are not with us on this earth.
Who are normally not on this earth, who have departed souls.
Yeah, departed souls.
So they are the guardian angels, as well as the Urvan or the Ravan, who is the soul. So the guardian angels and the souls are different. So we worship both of them. We call them, we pay homage to them so that they bless us. And at the same time, they also feel that, we are remembering them over like we've not forgotten what they've done for us. So these are the 10 days that are important. So if we look at the Zoroastrian calendar, it has 12 months of 30 days. So it's 360 days. So the last 5 days are from the regular calendar. And the next 5 days, just to give it a name, they were called the Gatha days, because Gathas were the hymns of Zarathustra, and they are very important in our religion. So they've been given, each day was given a Gatha day. So that's how the 10 days have been known as Muqtad. And last 5 days of those 10 days are the Gatha days.
Xerxes Mardon, Ervad, they tell our viewers of Voice of Canada, the Avesta is written in which language?
Yeah. So Avesta, as such, is written in Avestan. That's the language which was followed at that time. That's the ancient language. That's where, so there's a lot of history. Where did it originate? But over a period of, and at that time, it was all oral. So, it was passed on from person to person. It was not a written language, basically. So over the years, whatever, like each family, they were said that there were like 21 books as such, books. And there are 21 families, each with one book learned by heart and passed on from generation to generation.
Beautiful.
But when during the Achaemenid times, that is between around 500 to 200 BC, they managed to collect some of those, the literature, write it down, and they were kept in Persepolis. When the Greeks overran Persia, they destroyed all the written documents that we had. Wow. So again, we had nothing remaining. During the Sassanid time, they made an attempt to restart doing everything, but then the language had changed. So they were following following Pahlavi at that time.
Pahlavi.
So that's where, some of the literature you see, or what we see right now, is a mix of Avesta and Pahlavi. So it's written in Pahlavi and in Pazan. So that's how, it's a confluence of different languages.
Thank you. Ervad Xerxes Mardon, please inform our viewers of Voice of Canada, what must be the population of Zoroastrians here in Canada?
I personally believe it would be around 8,000 to 9,000 Zoroastrians
total
in Canada. Primarily in Ontario, which would be around 6,000 to 7,000.
6 to 7, they say.
Yeah. And it's maybe 60% would be the Parsi Zoroastrians who are from India, Pakistan, and balance from Iran. We feel there are Zoroastrians even in Azerbaijan, in
Uzbekistan, and that the CIS countries.
Yes. As well as the Kurds. Kurds also follow a type of
Zoroastrian. They are very close to Zoroastrianism.
So it's difficult to gauge the exact number, but we feel around 9,000 is what it would be in Canada.
So, Ervad Xerxes Mardon, due to paucity of time and all the guests coming, and due to the local elections which are taking place on Monday, October 24th, we truly apologize. You are well in time, but the other guests came late. And as we have to release their interviews prior to 24th October, so from today we'll be signing off soon. Would you like to give a strong comment with our prayer for the well-being and well wishes for Canada?
Yeah. There are many prayers which I could recite. There's one which we call Tandarosti, which is for the well-being of any individual or a group of individuals, but it's a long prayer. I'll go for a shorter one. It's called the Kefre Mazda. So if I can just recite it, if it'll be fine.
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Yes, of course.
That will be, they will have the sound and the
Sure.
some feeling of the Zoroastrian religions,
Yeah.
how we pray.
Gerfre mazda guna gujarasti rao kunam asheravan dushama rao ham kefre hama vehane hafta keshwar zameen pehna rudarana khurshid bala bunyad beresa ashobedezi atha zamyad yatha frinami ashem vaho vaishtem asti Ushtasti Ushta Amai Yad Ashai Vaishtai Hashem. In short, the meaning is, if I atone for my sins, I would be rewarded with the righteousness. And the soul, the love of the soul, will reach out for righteousness. And let righteousness, the truth, be given to all those who follow the right path across the lands. And we say Hafta Keshwar Zameen, the 7 lands as it was originally known. So right across the earth, as long as the rivers flow, as high as the sun is above us, so let the truth and righteousness be provided to all fellow beings.
Thank you. With that note, we will be signing off for today's interview with Ervad Xerxes Mardon, who is also an immediate past president of OZCF. Both he and his wife, they work very hard for our association day and night, and we truly appreciate what they are doing and giving back to our community and preserving our small microscopic community here in Canada, particularly in Oakville, Ontario. So keep up the good work. You are always welcome to our show. We had a very lengthy questionnaire which we had sent you, but again, no problem. Soon after this October month is over, we will be much less pressurized by others, and we will invite you once again as Ervad Xerxes Mardon Part 2. Because we want to know, every month it is in my agenda to call one faith out of the 40. Because I tried to do a joint event with 3 faith religions, but that was too much. We cannot discuss everything due to paucity of time, because the airtime is very costly and very, very precious. So nobody can just keep on doing unlimited time. So with that note, we wish to see you again. You are most welcome. Keep up the good work, and long live Zoroastrians and Canada, and good night, God bless, and adios.
Thank you.
Thank you.